Most UK teenagers go on to work after school or on to university. In Israel, it's very different. Our next guest, Adas Goldshtein-Coleman, completed 2 years of mandatory military service in the IDF. How does that define your future? Find out now on Work This Way. Hey, welcome back to Work This Way by Foundry. This week we're recording in Foundry Wandsworth, SW18 London. We're joined by Adas Goldshtein-Coleman, a fantastic Foundry Eastbourne member who's made the journey up from Sussex this morning. Adas, welcome and thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let's roll back a little bit. Tell us about your journey and how you ended up in Eastbourne.
That's a good question. I actually don't live in Eastbourne.
Where do you live?
I live in a small village about 20 minutes from Eastbourne. But because of my location, I tend to work in Eastbourne or Tunbridge Wells, actually. So I moved here about 15 years ago. Planned to stay for just 1 year to write a book about education. And lots of things happened that led me to what I do today, which is start off as a brand photographer. Understood how hard it is to run a business and show up and market and do all the things that business owners have to do. So I wanted to understand branding, the development side of it and the strategy side of it as much as I could. So I dived into that and that's it. Voila.
Your brand, VAB, talk us through that and tell us about your typical customer.
Okay, so VAB stands for Visibly Authentic Brands. Which is a hub of, it's all female-led, or those identify as female, from the creative world of marketing and branding, and we come together to work on clients' projects. We don't niche. I don't believe niching is a thing or needs to be a thing.
So is VAB predominantly based in Sussex, Southeast? Is it a national business?
It's spreading. So we started, it's 4 of us, and now there's 9 of us in different locations across the country. We even have another brand photographer up in Scotland, so see how it goes. Because most of the services we provide, apart from photography, we can do online, so that's now.
Right, so the brand strategy business, VAB, is nomadic.
Exactly. And then what we do slightly differently is we start with the strategy first, get the DNA of the business, get the why really established. So then when you go and do your website, your graphic design, copyright, whatever else the business needs to go and show up, it's all guided by these guidelines. So it's nothing gets lost in translation, which is the main reason why I wanted this hub to exist.
Adas, what was the driver for VAB to be a female-led business?
As long as there's a gap, I'm going to be there to try and make it smaller.
As in personal gender gap,
mission,
and pay gap.
Yeah. Funny enough, the creative industry in brand and marketing is still very male dominated.
Really?
Yeah, it's hilarious, isn't it? No offense to men, but yeah, it is. And plus female-led because we just do business differently than men.
Okay, so we know that you weren't born in the UK. Tell us your backstory. What was it like growing up in Israel?
Fun. Very, very outdoorsy. So you were out all the time, playgrounds and stuff. As a family, it's very family oriented. We lived very close to our grandparents. I've got 2 brothers, one younger, one older.
Whereabouts in Israel? Did you grow up?
In a small town outside of Tel Aviv,
right.
About 20 minutes from Tel Aviv.
It sounds like you had a brilliant childhood growing up in Israel. Many of our listeners may know, I didn't actually realise this, to be honest, that mandatory conscription is still a thing in Israel. Tell us about that. What age did you go into the army? It must have been a real adventure.
Well, it's part of what happens in your life. So you see everyone in your family joining or going. The men usually every year they will disappear for a couple of weeks for training as a reserve. So it's something that you geared up to and you kind of wait for it a little bit as well.
So you're actually looking forward to going into the army?
I actually was then.
I can imagine
as a
you were.
kid. I wanted to go like all in. I didn't want to get an office job. I wanted to go as
You
far
want to be
away from home as possible and really be on
amongst
the
it.
field. So and then I did. It was a funny story actually. So the way the army does it, you go through a lot of tests before you join. So they assess your ability, so mentally and physically, and then they give you a list of potential jobs you can do. And more intelligent you are, the higher, sort of more secretive kind of stuff you can do. But all of them are office-based, and I did not want any of these. But then I was sent because nobody really asks you what you want to do. Doesn't work that way.
And then how long were you serving for?
Back then, women had to do a minimum of 2 years and men do 3 years.
3 years?
For men, yeah. That's the minimum. And then if you want to sign up...
I thought it was a
more,
couple of
you can.
weeks. No. That's 2 or 3 years of your life, and it's totally compulsory.
Yeah. And it was really fun to begin with. Like the training is amazing. You learn to do all those things that you wouldn't necessarily ever learn. Not just using weapons, but also, being thrown into the group of people you would never meet and just get on. First aid, how to react in like different situations. You usually learn quite a lot.
So different than the UK where you'd go into further education. So in Israel, you'd go off, you do 2-3 years, mandatory conscription. And then what then? You then do your further education? You then go to university?
Well, depends what military service you have. If you do something like what I did, most Israelis, especially if they have to fight for 3 years, they fuck off and go traveling to clear your heads. And that's what I did. I spent a year and 6 months in South America.
I look back as me as a 19-year-old, and I can't even imagine serving in the army. Did you lose anyone?
A couple of guys I know got killed when I was in the service, various places. You make friends. Sometimes you make friends for life because it's that sort of an intense environment because we live together. I used to go home maybe at the weekends, like once in a couple of weeks.
Obviously, tons of life skills learned in your years in the army. But knowing what you know now and with the benefit of hindsight, would you have got into it so voluntarily?
No. I mean, for the training side, yes.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, it shapes a lot of who you are.
Yeah.
But from the overall, no. Not my vibe in the slightest.
Yeah. So you're 21. You've come out of the service. What comes next for you?
Traveling.
Where'd you go?
South Africa? No. South America.
Close.
Again, to do with my dad. He used to travel quite a lot from his work.
Where to?
Starting in Colombia. We made our way down all the way to Ushuaia, which is Argentina.
Yeah.
Planned to go back up and go to Australia. But then when I was in Argentina, so 6 months in, somebody left a note in the guest house we were staying in that I need to ring home quickly. So I did. This is going to be a tough one. My uncle, who I've hardly seen, answered the phone and said something about my dad being in hospital and I should get on the plane back. It was very strange. And of course I did. He didn't tell me that my dad was dead already. So it took us about 2 days to go back, 12 hours on the bus and then flights and came back to chaos. And that was the end of my trip, that one.
That must have been really hard being so far from home at that time. But you did mention that you got your love of photography from your father. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so that happened actually. So about a year after he passed, being completely lost, I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. And I found his camera. And I thought, photography, that's a good way to connect.
And it was your dad's camera.
Yeah.
I can envisage like
which was
classic,
utter shit, by the way.
Classic like SLS camera, is that right?
Yeah, but really shitty one. Found the first course I was able to find back then in Tel Aviv, which was like an extension of National Geographic School, which was mostly about portraits, but documentary style. Dark room, before they invented digital cameras. So that was phenomenal. I did that for 2 years. And then the third year was go out to the field and build a story around a subject that you wanted.
It's lovely hearing stories of your dad and those good times that you had, thankfully. Would you say your dad was a real role model for you?
He was my inspiration for most things growing up. In fact, I wanted to be I didn't want to be like my mum as a kid. I wanted to be more like my dad. He was a fun guy. Everybody loved him. He was very smart. My mum was the woman who had a part-time job and was cooking, and that was never my thing. Didn't want to do any of that.
Wasn't going to be you.
No. Yeah. So I wanted to belong to that club, and I think that's why I went to the service, to what I wanted to do, to what I ended up doing, and also got into sports quite a lot. Used to play basketball and volleyball. Yeah, we were very close, but then we weren't. It was when I was a teenager. Came back to chaos, spent a year looking after my mum, who didn't leave the sofa for a whole year. Wow. My mum and dad were together since the age of 15, so that was a massive blow for her. Wow. My younger brother was 13 at the time, so he was living at home. Did the photography. While I was doing the photography course, I needed a job, so I found a preschool that needed some assistance. So I just worked at a couple of preschools, actually. Loved it. Loved working with the kids. Just get to play all day and just have very genuine conversation rather than having to talk to adults, which I was never a fan of. I always felt
you talk
like,
all right now.
Oh, I am.
I've
grown up since then. But back then, ADHD was like, I was a kid. I was so all over the place. And
how old were you at this point?
Wanted to rebel. 23.
Yeah. So you've just been out of the army for 2 years, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened then?
Talk to me about this preschool.
Right. I decided to, because I've worked in different preschools and just because of the annoying person I am, I started seeing things I didn't like.
Yeah. And
because I grew up in a system that didn't really gear to my needs ever.
It didn't fit you.
No. Exactly. That didn't fit me, not the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
It took me years to get that.
Exactly.
I decided it's time to do something different. Yeah. So I picked and chose from all the methods that I knew about, like the free flow, the Montessori, whatever, Reggio Emilia. I love to read, so I read everything I could and decided to create my own preschool and my own method of education.
Such an entrepreneur. You're like... it
wasn't planned, trust me. It was I'm doing it.
You spotted a problem you wanted to fix.
Exactly.
To solve.
So found a place right smack in the middle of Tel Aviv next to Disney Golf Center, which is like a very center place.
Right.
It was a warehouse.
Right.
So I went in there with my older brother and some builders, and we stripped everything, and I built it the way I wanted to build it. And then I need to get some kids.
Some customers.
Yeah.
Paying customers.
And I don't even remember how I even advertised it or whatever, but I remember going and meeting parents in their home because they invited me because they wanted to hear more about this alternative education. I had 4 kids signing up to the first year. It was called Gan Ganesh, by the way.
Gan Ganesh.
Ganesh. So I came, what I forgot to say is that I traveled in India for a year. That's another year that I missed and got to that. So Ganesha is one of the gods.
Right, okay.
And it's the god of endless possibilities.
Right.
So and Gan in Hebrew means nursery.
Oh, okay.
So I combined the two because, endless possibilities when you were a kid.
We'll get to India. That must have been a very formative period of your...
Amazing,
of your years, because I know that you practice Buddhism, right?
That's where
And that's where you picked this up.
Yeah. I started with 4 kids. By the end of the first year, I had 17 children, and then the second year we had a waiting list because it was spreading like Yeah, I was teaching yoga. It was all sorts of.
Were you fulfilled at this point?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun. It was fun.
And it was a reasonably successful business?
It was successful quite quickly. And yeah, I was living the dream, I guess, got to play with kids all day and then had my own life in Tel Aviv with my dog, and it was all perfect. But I always knew it was never going to be more than 5 years. I have a thing with 5 years thing. I don't know why.
Watch out.
I know.
There's the warning.
Yeah. So, yeah, I never commit to anything for more than 5 years. And on the 4th year, something shifted. I don't even remember what it was. I just felt like I needed to get out again.
Yeah.
Money was never a thing for me.
A driver.
So, yeah, but I had enough to be able to do something I've always wanted to do, which was to come and try and live in England.
Mm-hmm. What brought you to the UK? What was the moment? What was the pivot moment?
So going back when I was 19 and I came back and I came here backpacking with a very good friend around England. We went all the way up to Scotland and back, random places. Even ended up in Blackpool for some odd reason for a night.
Where did Brighton come from? Hove, like that?
That came later.
Right.
So I didn't know about Brighton the first time I came here. It was literally London, Oxford, Cambridge, that sort of area, up, down. But I felt really connected the first time I came here. So throughout the years when I had a little bit of money, I would just hop on a plane for the weekend, come to London on my own. Yeah. My favorite spot was Trafalgar Square. I would go in from the plane, go there, sit, have lunch, just watch I love the lions on there.
With the camera?
With the camera, obviously.
Yeah.
Just on my own. And every time I was on that plane, I felt like I was traveling home, which is very odd. I know. I have no connections to England in any way apart from that feeling.
But I know that you love the music scene.
It's the music. It's Shakespeare. I always loved Shakespeare. I fell in love with Shakespeare when I was in high school.
So you'd spend time
culture.
at the Globe and you'd be on the South Bank and
I went to Stratford to visited all the
Yeah. So you're really into it.
Yeah.
And your taste in music is
very British.
Yeah. Like, hang on, like Depeche Mode.
Yeah. Cure. It's my favorite band.
Cure's your favorite band.
David Bowie. Yeah.
Bowie is a big inspiration for you, isn't he?
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Did you like the stuff in Eastbourne, in Foundry Eastbourne?
Absolutely.
With the stuff, the frog, isn't it? Sorry, the gnome. Sorry,
yes.
The gnome. Yeah, it's Paul McCartney, the frog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So again, I had the ability, I had the time, and I thought, okay, I'll come and try and live here for just 1 year. That's all I plan to do, and I will write a book about this education thing I've been doing as a guide for other teachers. So that's what I did. I met an English girl who lived in Groombridge when I was traveling in India, and she told me about Brighton.
Right.
So when I decided to move here, I stayed with her for 10 days. We went to Brighton. I found a room in a house in Patcham. So that's what I rented.
And Brighton, I guess, similar to Tel Aviv
Very
at that
similar.
time?
That was my, I fell
quite
in love with
liberal,
Brighton.
beach.
Yeah.
That vibe.
Exactly.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So, it felt like a second home. Only
good lights for photography?
Yeah. Oh, my God. The zombie walk that they do. Have you ever seen that one? That was one of the best things I've ever experienced with my camera.
It makes complete sense for a photographer.
Yeah.
And someone who's action like you are.
Yeah.
Talk to us about your first business venture, the preschool in Tel Aviv, and its USP, why it was so different to preschooling that we know in the UK.
It was very, very different from a community point of view to begin with. So it was always, at the end of the day, you don't just pick your kid and disappear. People will just stay, hang around, sitting outside, chatting to each other. There's no rush to close the doors. We used to do a lot of events for everyone, again, as a community, around food. Right. So either bring the parents and to hang out with us or weekends.
They have a kibbutz vibe.
A little bit of a kibbutz vibe in the middle of a city.
Feels like that.
Yeah. With a lot of parents' guidance. So I would sit with parents if they have different child psychology development issues.
Right.
So I would help with that because I've got a bit of a background in child psychology. Another thing I've learned. But the main thing that was different is that what guided the preschool as a everyday thing was allowing kids to choose what they want to do all the time.
That was the North Star, essentially.
Yeah, but also teaching them independent thinking.
Right.
And taking responsibilities for your choices. So there was no actual structure for the day apart from meal time and sleep time. Because some of them had naps in the middle of the day, but everything else was very much 100% child-led.
Right.
And that freedom with a lot of crazy music and messiness and a lot of it, because I needed to move as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fun. And there was almost no issues whatsoever, especially with problematic kids. And my dog being there as well helped.
You touched on, right at the start, structure, sometimes lack of, which is how you operate, and that's everyone to their own. You touched on your belief, your faith, your time in India, which I'm sure was a very interesting year out, picking up Buddhism there. But something that I know from what you've described, can we just talk about ADHD and how that's become a superpower for you?
Okay. Well, it wasn't for many, many years because no one talked about ADHD when I was at school. So I was labeled the troublemaker. I was sent from one classroom to the other because I couldn't sit still and I wasn't listening.
So what were your coping mechanisms back then when you were a kid?
Music at class, hiding it under the shirt and my hair. I remember one of the teachers complained to my mum that it looks like I'm seeing through her. Like, yeah, because I wasn't listening to anything. I was listening to the music. I was doodling constantly on the table, on the notebooks or whatever. But I couldn't sit in a class, so I was sent out quite a lot.
And later in life, what's your coping mechanisms now? Later in life, still listening to music when you're doing a podcast with me? You got your phones in?
No, music is still helps.
Yeah.
If I need to concentrate on work, I put quite loud music in the house. Yeah. But it has to be in English and in Hebrew. Yeah, because it's the thing about my ADHD. I know it's different for everyone. Is I don't have any filters, so smell, sounds, and visuals really distract me all the time.
So it's very heightened.
Yeah. So, but if there's music. Not talking, just music, and it's music that I know, it's almost like white noise, so it helps me concentrate.
It almost distracts you from distraction.
Exactly. I used to go to sleep with music as well.
Really?
Yeah. Because again, every tiny sound can...
trigger almost.
Yeah. So that's something I still do. I used to rock a lot, which is funny. I don't do it as much, but I used to do this all the time.
Is that a tell almost if you're having?
It's like energy that needs to come.
Yeah.
He's nodding. Yeah, it's like an energy that needs to be
I mean,
out
producer
there.
Gary's in the room and he'll openly, talk about ADHD. But
but there's a lot. I mean, yes, it is a superpower for me now because I realized how to not be scared of the fact that I don't think or see things or feel things like everybody else.
Yeah.
And then making that shift. So I I took myself to be diagnosed when I was 26 because I needed to understand why everything feels so wrong and how come everybody is so weird and I'm like the only sane one. And then I got diagnosed and I was told that I have ADHD and the guy was like, I can't believe you even managed to finish high school. And I felt like this relief, and it shifted the way I looked at it. And I don't fight it anymore. And I now recognize when I wake up in the morning, that's what I said in the beginning, if I wake up in the morning and I know I can't do it. I just can't focus on anything, then I will do something else. I don't force myself to do stuff I don't have to, hence why I'm self-employed. Yeah. But I'm very much unemployable.
Like most of us.
Yeah, exactly. But days when I do feel like I'm switched on, I can get a lot of shit done very quickly.
Massive production rate.
Hyper focus. Yeah. That's the other side of ADHD that not many people understand that we have.
I totally see that. I love having Gary around because it is absolutely his superpower. When we need to deliver and produce, it's unbelievable.
Especially if it's like a deadline that's very close,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. The downside is, as you know, is the planning. So I've never done a business plan. I don't even, I think my brain doesn't compute future at all or time at all. So I don't even bother. But another ability is to see, people say, okay, you see outside the box. I think for me, the box doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
I don't see any box. And that helps with the strategy side of things when I work with businesses. So
But the key here is that you build a team around you that fill the gaps.
Yeah, I think so.
And you've done that with women.
Yeah.
No men allowed.
Sorry.
Only male
Unless you
customers.
identify as a female, then
Yeah,
you're more than
which is
welcome.
absolutely fine as well. But
Or non-binary.
I feel it's a superpower, and the way you've embraced it is really inspiring. And anyone listening out there that's got any questions, or if it's okay, and they can reach out to you on LinkedIn,
Absolutely.
I think it will be super helpful because it's a really inspiring story of how you turn this around and turn it into a superpower, and it enables you to be the person you are today.
Thank you.
I'm intrigued by India, your time in India, Buddhism. I assumed that you were born in Israel, you're Jewish.
Yeah. I guess I am Jewish by the
birthright.
gods of Judaism, because I was born to a Jewish mother and so forth. But aren't we all Jewish anyway? Never mind. Yeah.
Deep.
No. Yeah. So tradition-wise, yes, we do all the holidays because it's family and it's food and but
take advantage of that. Food is great.
Exactly. I love food. And I love feeding people as well. But faith was never part of my life. Right. Personally, I remember, so it's second grade in Israel, because it's a very Jewish-ish state still. There's no separation between religion and state in Israel, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
So biblical studies is part of the curriculum quite intensely. So you get to have a ceremony when you're like 8 and you receive your own personal Bible. And I remember coming home with it and giving it to my mum. It's like, I don't want this. So quite early on, I was not interested.
Sorry? Yeah, it wasn't for you.
No, and I didn't grow up in a religious family whatsoever. I think I went to a synagogue once with my dad because it was something he wanted to show us. It wasn't even like a God thing. When I traveled to India, I ended up in Dharamsala, which is where the Dalai Lama sometimes resides. And I got introduced to Buddhism, I got introduced to yoga. And there's a Buddhist retreat there that you go for 10 days in utter silence. And that was the best thing I've ever done in my entire life.
How did you manage that?
I didn't think I would be able to shut up. No, I know. I get that from everyone. That's their response. I loved it. It's insane how we don't actually need to talk to communicate.
So how did you communicate?
We don't. You don't need to, because you're just observing all the teachings and you meditate a lot. But just walking around,
was it like
you just
put your hands up?
Like this, you say thank you without words. And in fact, when we came, I was there with a friend, and when we came out 10 days later, we walked all the way down the mountain to where we were staying, and we didn't say a word. It took us a long time to utter the first word back, and that sounded like a scream, because after not talking for so long, it sounds very loud.
Goodness me.
Yeah, it was really nice. Since then, I've done it many times.
Oh, really? You've been back?
Yeah. Well, not that one, but in Israel, there's a whole...
in India?
No, in Israel.
In Israel?
Back in Israel. There's a whole Dharma school, and monks come in. It's really nice.
So you have Buddhism in amongst Judaism and all the other religions?
Because Buddhism is not a religion, it's a philosophy.
Right,
It's non-violence, which I utterly love.
Yeah.
It's compassion. What's not to love? It's love.
Yeah.
It's non-attachment. It's everything that just makes sense, and it teaches you that everything is connected. Mm-hmm. All of us.
Oh, I should look at my Buddha in my garden very differently.
There you go. Yeah. One of the main thing I've learned, or one of the lessons I remember, is this monk explaining to us that the table that is in front of us is made out of exactly the same atoms that we are made out of in a molecular kind of level. Then talks about energy, and then do meditation about people you hate, people you love, and how it's all like the same. And it's insanely amazing. So it changed the way I communicate, I guess, and how I live among other humans, even the ones that,
Yeah, you don't want to be around.
yeah.
You've had such an incredible life. You're so young. You've done so much, and you've pivoted and moved across continents and lived and experienced various parts of the world and practiced different philosophies. And it's been amazing chatting to you. What thread would you say connects your life, your young life in Israel, right the way through to where you are just outside of Eastbourne there in Sussex?
Authenticity would be the connecting
your true
line,
self.
I think, my true self, just learning as much as I can about who I am, just trying to be the best version, the best human I can, and accepting that I can't be perfect. So
You're very straightforward, aren't you?
yeah.
What you see is what you get.
Yeah, it can be a downside sometimes.
Yeah.
I can say
Can
the
imagine.
wrong thing in the wrong time, and
Do you mean your filters?
no filters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ADHD is trending right now. There's loads of stuff on social media and apps and subscriptions that you can get and whatever. But I guess the label of it, what advice would you give someone who's going through a similar story that you've told today way back when?
It's a hard one to answer because it's something I've been debating for years, whether the fact that I was lucky enough not to get diagnosed when I was younger and be labeled with ADHD allowed my brain to come up with its own solutions to handle stuff. Not to say being diagnosed wasn't a major thing for me and a revelation, but I don't know if it's necessary, and I think you can't really fake ADHD. You would know if you have it or not. Yes, everyone is on the spectrum to some extent.
Would you say that if you had have been labelled, perhaps you'd have a different mindset to what you've got now, which is you are a problem solver? Do you think that would have put a lid on it, perhaps, that label?
It could have been, yeah, especially
on
if
that
it
creativity.
Happens, especially if it's done really too young. When you know, like any other label, if you're labeled stupid, then you might start behaving like you're stupid. It kind of sticks with you. So yeah, perhaps.
Tell us a little bit more about Visibly Authentic Brands. I noticed the word authentic is used a lot in your language, and I know you're authentic. I spent an hour and a half with you today, and there's no facade around you. Tell us about VAB, what it's up to at the moment, and importantly, tell us about how our listeners, members, and network can get hold of you.
Okay. So what we do as a hub is allowing our clients to find everything they need to find in terms of brand and marketing in one place. So you don't have to go and repeat your story over and over and over again and not get the consistency that it deserves. So part of the hub we have a graphic designer, web designer, SEO specialist, email marketer, social media manager, brand photography, everything. But the other more important part is that we always start with a strategy and a deep dive into the essence of the business, because you can't market what you don't know. So it's a first step before doing anything else. So we get a lot of rebrands coming our way. People have been in business for a while, not happy with the way it looks, or they have a different new service and they don't know how to put everything under one brand. So that's what we're actually really good at doing.
And how do we get hold of you?
Well, everywhere. I'm on LinkedIn. Everywhere. I'm on Instagram. I love Instagram.
And your LinkedIn is ADAS. Like
Goldshtein,
yeah. With an S.
Exactly. You probably won't find many Goldshtein-Coleman, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And website for VAB?
We've got the website, so it's www.vab/u.com.
Perfect. Thanks so much for coming on today. It's been a really intriguing conversation. You're so honest. I can see your filters are still off. And it's such a complex life that you've led those early years. And it's helped me understand a little bit more about Israel and what's going on. Just from all of us, thanks very much for your authenticity, your honesty. And I really hope that there's some brilliant takeaways today for our listeners, our network, that some of us may be going through a situation that you've been through. So thank you.
Thank you very much. That was amazing.
In her own words, Adas lives her life authentically. She's willing to take the risk and give stuff a go. Setting up her own preschool in Tel Aviv, learning multiple religions and philosophies, and moving halfway across the world because, well, why not? She embraced her neurodiversity, realising it is a superpower, not a hindrance. That's something I truly admire. Thanks for listening and see you next week.